We know that these are the two hardest things about getting back in shape. The first is actually starting, and the second is sticking to it, all right? These two things are holding so many people back. Even this weekend when everything is reopening or starting to reopen in the fitness industry in terms of the gyms and the studios and the swimming pools and all of the leisure activity stroke venues. And still, there are going to be people who have been talking about getting back into shape all of these months. I know that we've taken a hit these past couple of months with everything going on. There's been so much other more important things to be worrying about. However, it's becoming more and more apparent that getting into shape is something that helps us to combat things like what we've been dealing with these last couple of months. Particularly, say, this weekend as the rule comes in that we now will have to wear face masks when we're out in shops and everything else. So it really has kind of hit home that we've got this kind of perfect storm in terms of everything's opening up. We're still having to wear masks, and right now we've got great weather as well, and still there are going to be people who are not going to be doing something about getting back into shape, despite having talked about it for weeks, months, if not possibly years. And the two main reasons are, one, starting in the first place, and two, sticking to it. So let's look at starting. Why is it so hard to start? It's not as though there aren't enough options out there in terms of what we can do to get back into shape. It comes down to us as individuals having some kind of fear that is holding us back from making that first step. Whether it's a fear of being judged by other people, a fear of it not working, a fear of not being able to do it, a fear that it's going to hurt, a fear that it's going to be expensive, a fear. There's going to be so many different fears that we're going to conjure up in our head to ultimately stop us from starting, okay? But whatever that fear is, it's a fear that we've made up in our heads, right? It's not a fear such as the house is burning down. It's not a fear in terms of it's a loud noise and we have to kind of shy away from it. It's not a fear in terms of triggering our fight or flight response in the body. But yet it's a fear that we have conjured, created, generated in our own heads to hold us back, all right? It's some kind of belief. You believe that something could happen, or you believe that something might not happen, and you believe it so strongly that no matter how many options are out there, you're still going to not start, all right? And the reason is this fear. So it is about addressing the fear and really questioning the fear and trying to pick it apart as to how real it is, how true it is. Is it actually 100% true that everyone is going to judge you? Is it 100% true that you're not going to be able to do it? Is it 100% true that you're not going to be able to afford it? Is it 100% true, etc., right? You take that line of questioning and ask yourself whether that fear is actually true, and extrapolate it out. Like, think about it. What is the worst case scenario that could possibly happen? What can you therefore do about it to prevent that fear of yours actually happening, other than not actually starting? And maybe flip it. Maybe look at it the other way. Like, what is the cost of you? What is the cost of you not doing it? Yeah, that's pretty powerful, right? What is the cost of you not doing it? Of you not starting to do something to get back into shape? What if you wait? Like, what will it cost you? Not just in monetary terms, but in terms of satisfaction, in terms of the energy levels, in terms of the experiences that you get to have when your body and mind is in a fitter, healthier and happier state, right? What is it going to cost you? So the first thing is the fear. It's something that is ultimately stopping you from starting in the first place. That is the first really hard, or people see it as really hard, make it really hard for them to start, and it's the one thing that prevents them from ever doing anything. The second hardest part of getting into shape so that you feel fitter, healthy and happier is actually sticking to it. All right? And there are a few things that you can do in terms of helping you to stick to it. So imagine that you've got over the first main hurdle of actually starting something, and then you've got all of this enthusiasm, you're loving it, you're doing it right, and then suddenly you quit, you stop. Quite naturally, a lot of people stop once they've started. And you have to look at why. You have to look at why you stopped, because once you start getting into shape, once you start doing something about your own health and fitness, if you continue, you're only going to continue to get the benefits from it, in terms of the energy, in terms of how much better you feel, how much more confident you can feel, how much happier you are, how much more energy you have, how much better you handle stress, how much more you feel that you can do, etc. Right? There are so many things that you can do, be and have as a result of getting into shape. Okay, but if you find that you're regularly quitting, if you find that you're regularly stopping because you couldn't stick to it, you need to look at your approach. You need to look at, why was that approach unsustainable? Because to get into shape for life, you have to be able to keep this regime up for life, right? You can't have, as much as I'd love to, you can't have a 2-week stint of getting into shape and then have health, fitness and happiness for the rest of your life. It doesn't work like that. As much as I'd like it to, you need to pick something that you, one, start, and two, you stick to, in terms of a regime, in terms of a routine that works for you and your life, for your lifestyle, one that makes you happy, one that you can look forward to. Okay, so I know how hard it can be to start. I know how hard it can be to stick to a regime, and that's why in the first instance I recommended really questioning what the fears are that you're putting up, that are, kind of obstacles, more than likely mental obstacles that you're putting into place to stop yourself from starting in the first place. And the second thing is the sticking to it. Things that you can do: you could buddy up with someone else, so that you're suddenly more accountable, so that you don't feel like you're doing it by yourself, so that you feel like you're answerable to your body as well. Because when you're doing things by yourself, when you're getting into shape on your own, it's so easy. No one else is going to really care if you do or you don't. So you're always going to take the easy route, or you're wired to take the easy route, and the easy route is to not do it. All right. So if you are buddied up with someone, you'll find that you're so much more likely to keep it up, because you're now going to be letting the other person down if you don't turn up to your session, to your run, to your workout, whatever it is. Okay, so that's one way of helping you to stick to it. Another way of sticking to it is really working out whether you're a carrot or a stick kind of person. Are you most motivated by a carrot, i.e. something of pleasure that you can work towards, like some kind of reward that you're going to give yourself for getting into your goals and hitting milestones along the way? It can be big or small. It can be some kind of delayed gratification that you set yourself so that you stick to it longer than you did the last time. All right. So I'm not talking about doing it every Monday and quitting every Friday. I'm talking about long term, weeks, months. I want you to pick something that ultimately helps you to feel fitter, healthy and happier for the rest of your life. All right. And if you haven't found that thing, then you have to keep looking. So 2 ways to help you stick to something. 1, buddy up with someone. 2, look at whether you're a carrot or a stick person. Are you more motivated by wanting to work towards something that is going to be rewarding, or are you more motivated by the prospect of some form of pain, right? The stick. And that is totally up to you as to how you are wired. Most of us are wired to want to avoid pain as opposed to attain pleasure. So you just need to work out what that potential pain could be. Look at, again, what could it cost you if you don't get into the shape that you want. And I'm not talking about the physical shape. I'm talking about, the mental state in terms of how you want to feel, all right? How you want to feel over and above the aesthetics. Because I think how you want to feel is so much more important than the aesthetics. The aesthetics are a nice byproduct, but it's not the end all and be all. I think it's much more healthy an approach to want to improve the way you feel on the inside, okay? And generally, if you do that, the outside kind of glows and reflects that anyway, yeah? So they're the 2 ways I would recommend in terms of helping you to stick to it. So in summary, we know that starting and sticking to it are the 2 hardest things about getting into shape, and that's why we help you to set things up for yourself by doing things like a 21-day challenge, so it's not so daunting, so that you come in and you try and see it for yourself and see whether you like it, see whether a group environment, a fun, friendly, welcoming environment is one that you would like to get your teeth into, so to speak, for just 21 days. There's no commitment other than 21 days. That's 3 weeks of your life where you get to learn what it really takes to get fit, healthy and happy for good. And the second way that we help you to stick to it is to make you accountable. So you join the group and suddenly you're accountable to other like-minded people who are in the same boat, i.e. they're wanting to get into lifetime fitness as well. And so when you join us, you get all of that. And you start by doing a 21-day challenge. So if you would like help with the 2 hardest things about getting into shape, 1, starting, 2, sticking to it, then you should probably click the link below this video, or DM me for more details about our 21-day challenge, about our 21-day Feel Fantastic challenge that does what it says on the tin. And if you stick to it and you still don't get the results of feeling better for it, then we give you your money back. All right? I hope that video was of help in terms of helping you to tackle the two hardest things about getting into shape.